Hi friends, family, and YouTubers. I'm getting ready to start working on some minor modifications on my camper, and I just wanted to introduce to you my camper. It's a 1996 Mallard by Fleetwood. It's a 24-foot camper. I bought it last year back in 2013. There are a few modifications that I've already completed that I will update you on. I'm sorry if it's a little bumpy, but I'm still limping from my surgery. Okay, this is the interior of the camper. These pictures that you're seeing now are actually of a 1997 Mallard that I found online that is similar to the one that I got, because I didn't take any pictures when I first got it. This is where I started doing some work on the interior. This is the first modification I made. The TV shelf here, it's made for the old tube type TV, which I wanted to get rid of. I wanted to put a flat screen in, and the flat screen would not fit inside that shelf there. So the first modification I did was I removed this shelf and this side piece to make room for a TV along the back wall here. Once the TV shelf was removed, I was able to hang my 24-inch Vizio TV that I bought at Walmart. The picture you see on the TV now was put on by a digital antenna, which I purchased a long time ago, back when I got my first flat screen for the house. It is actually an interior or digital antenna. Mounted it on the exterior of the camper. I removed the original antenna that was on there, which was not digital. I removed it and and mounted this onto the exterior of the camper so that I could raise it and lower it and turn it from inside the camper. And you've seen the picture that the TV, that's channel 10 I believe, and I got, sitting in my driveway, I got probably 7 or 8 channels on the TV. The next modification I did was really not a modification for the camper itself, but cut these pieces of wood and tied a rope onto them so that they were easy to retrieve when I'm done with them. I go to store them away. And then I also made one for the front of the camper as well. So this is a switch here for exterior lighting that I added to the camper, which is a blue light that goes along the side of the camper. These are LED lights. They use virtually no power whatsoever, and they are hooked up to the battery of the camper, which means when I'm boondocking, I can still use these lights. The next modification I did, I wanted to add a shelf for the Blu-ray. So I took the old shelf that I took out, modified it back, I could fit it back in next to the TV, and I had a place to put Blu-ray. There's a picture of the Blu-ray and the TV together. You've got a lot of cable. You've got your antenna cable, you've got your HDMI cable, and you've got your electrical outlets. I couldn't do much with most of them, but I have reduced the HDMI down to a 3-foot cable so that this bunch of cables will not be here. This rat nest of cables will not be here. The next modification I did, I wanted to, in case of tailgate, I wanted to be able to bring the TV outside so we can watch it under the awning. So galvanized pipe, I mounted it on the bump and brought it up around the edge of the camp under the can. I mounted the TV bracket, which I had made by a friend, on here, and I had to bend it out so that the TV would fit on. This is still not complete, pretty close. The bracket is also meant to be removed when I'm traveling so that it's not there when I'm traveling. The next modification I did was I was going to add a 410 watt inverter so that with my BiPAP machine I can use boondocking, which it would have worked out, but there's so much more power that I want to use. I would like to be able to use my TV, my Blu-ray, and some lighting maybe, and a fan maybe. 410 watts just wasn't enough, which is where we're at now. I'm going to be working on the battery box. When I got it, it had one 12-volt deep cycle battery right Right in there is where it sat and was hooked up. I'm going to replace that with a bank of 3 batteries at the present, with room for a 4th battery. One battery will be for the everything that goes, the normal 12-volt system that's in the camper now, and the other 2 batteries will be hooked up to a 1200 watt inverter, which I'm going to install inside. So that's the modification I'm getting ready to work on now. What I'm going to do first is put me a floor down there, a bottom, that I can put my battery boxes onto, or on. And once I get that done, then I can get the battery boxes out here and get those installed. I'm just going to use a 3/8 piece, or a 1/4 inch piece of plywood, but I got a rubber coating seal that I'm going to put on the bottom of it to keep the mud and stuff off of it. So here's the piece of plywood I'm going to be working with. I've got to cut that down to fit in there, which is 15 inches. Right now it's a 2x4 piece of plywood, so I've got to cut it down to 14 inches, 15 inches by 44 inches. Alright, I cut my board down to the size it needs to be. It's 15, actually it's about 14 and 1/4 by 44 inches, and that will fit perfectly behind the gas tanks there up against the wall. And I went and figured out where the center was, where the A-frame of the trailer is going to be, which will be right in through here. I drilled my 3/8 inch holes that I'll be mounting it onto the thing, and I added these supports here to help line it up, keep it in place while I'm drilling the holes into the A-frame of the trailer, the tongue of the trailer. So I'm going to go over there now, and I'm going to put this on there and mark where they go, and hopefully get this mounted on there. Before I mount it, I've got to rubber coat it, and that's going to be a tough job to do. I'm going to have to do that in the garage. Alright, I got it in place. It fits nice and tight like that, but I still want to mount it down. Alright, I went and sealed it with a rubber sealant spray on for it's called Flex Seal. It's a liquid rubber sealant, and I'm hoping that will help protect it from the elements. This is the underside that I've done. I'm not really worried about the top of it, although I will do the top of it also. As soon as this dries, I'll flip it over and do the top. But I wanted to make sure the bottom was sealed, because that will be getting any kind of road debris or coming off the towing vehicle. So I wanted to make sure it was well sealed, and I think this stuff will work. So now I've got to go finish drilling those holes in the frame, the tongue. Alright, I got the floorboard mounted. It's on there, not coming off. And I've gotten underneath there to hook that up and figure out where I'm going to run my cables from on the inside. I noticed this patch here where the other wires are coming down from. Not sure if you can see that or not. Yeah, there they are. I took out some of the screws, which are really rusted, and pulled it back, and I can see the floorboard. The only problem is I gotta drill my hole up through that knot there, and I really don't want to do that, but don't think I'm going to have much of a choice. So we'll just go ahead and drill it and see what happens. Okay, I drilled my holes, one through the plastic bottom, a rubber bottom, and then one up through the floorboard. That goes up underneath my bed where the inverter is going to be placed. Alright, what I'm getting ready to do now is mount and run the cable for the monitor, the battery monitors. I've got two of them, one for the house battery and one for the inverter battery, and I'm going to mount them right underneath the cabinet here is where I'm going to mount them at. I've got about 30 foot of cable to run. I've noticed I got a cable runner, or a runner down there that I can run the cable through here. It'll go under the bed where the water tank is, or under the couch where the water tank is, and then it'll go back through the bedroom from the corner there over underneath the bed, and then eventually have it run all the way to where the cables are coming up, and then run it out to the batteries. This is what the monitors look like. So I got to cut a hole to fit those in and then run my cabling. Well, we got them mounted up in there. Okay, I mounted the battery boxes this morning. It was still chilly out here, so I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time out here, which is why I never recorded it. But I wanted to show you the new battery boxes. Okay, I mounted them with a piece of wood down there, and I got wood, little 1x, separating them. This one will hold 2 batteries. Well, both of them will hold 2 batteries, but this one will hold the 2 deep cell batteries. And I've got my wires, my cables ran for the to the interior, inside the camper. Like I said, this will hold the 2 deep cells, which will power up the 1200 watt inverter. And then the second battery box is installed the same way. And it will house the house battery, which is right now is just a marine starting battery. It's not a deep cycle, but I plan to get that corrected as soon as possible. So the battery boxes have been mounted. They're not going nowhere, and they do. That one over there is watertight. This one here isn't because of the crack in the lid. It was bought like that. When I purchased these, there was only 3 of them, and 2 of them were broke. So I got the one good one, and then I got the 2 that, or the other one that was not broke as much. The lesser of the 2. So these are mounted, ready to go. And then what I did was also I drilled 3 holes in the side of them. Get my finger out of the way. I drilled 3 holes in the side of them to help ventilate. I've got 3 holes there, and then I've also got 3 holes on the other corner to help ventilate the boxes. These are maintenance-free batteries, so they really don't need to be ventilated, but I wanted to go ahead and do it anyhow. Alright, now for the interior, we've got to finish. Okay, what I'm attempting to do now is run the cable for the monitors, battery monitors, down through where I brought the other cable up. I should have done this before I closed the bottom, but I didn't. So now I got to do it the hard way. We'll see if we can get her done. Okay, I managed to get it to come down So now all I gotta do is finish pulling it through the rest of the way and run it up to the battery boxes, and find some way to connect it to the batteries. So that shouldn't be any problem at all. The biggest problem probably is getting that clothes hanger back out of there, because it's only going to go one way. Alrighty. Now this cable that I got for the battery monitor is actually telephone line, and it's got 6 cables inside. I've got to, and I'm only using 4 of them. 2 for one set of batteries and 2 for the other set. All I got to do now is figure out or get it so that the 4 wires will go into the battery boxes. And I got to strip the cable back, which I've started to do. I've got it started right there. And once I get that started, or get that off of there, then I can run my cables in and hook them up to my batteries. Back so that I've got all 6 wires free. Now the green and white one there, and the blue and white one, and the blue one are the 4 that I need. So the orange and white one I don't need, so I can cut them off. Alright, I'm inside the bed now, which is not an easy job to do with my bad knee, but I'm getting ready to install or mount the inverter. I'm going to mount it right inside that square there, and then run the cables up to it, hook it up, and then I'll be ready to install the batteries. I've got the monitor all hooked up, so we're good to go. I get this done and I can start running my outlets out of here. I've got 2 outlets that I'm going to install, possibly a third that I can access through that access door back there, so I can have an outdoor outlet. But for the time being, I'm going to run an outlet right here, maybe over on the other side, probably over on the other side of that. And then I'm going to run one over there where the TV gets. So we'll be able to see that once it gets done. Okay, now we got the inverter mounted. It's time to hook it up to the cables going out. Alright, we got the 1200 watt inverter installed. Got it mounted. The cables are running out to the battery box. We got the monitor cable there. So we're good to go. As soon as we get the batteries hooked up, I want to install the I think I'm going to go ahead and bring the batteries out next. I think it'll be warm enough for them. Okay, I've got both deep cycle batteries installed. I've got them running, I think, parallel, positive to positive and negative to negative, so that it's still a 12-volt system. I've got the monitor cables, the green monitor cable and the white and green monitor cable hooked up, so if we go inside, it should have the battery strength on there on one of the monitors. Had a little problem with the positive cable being a little bit too long, and it's a number 2 gauge wire, so it's really hard to manipulate. But I believe we've got it hooked up, so we're going to go in and test and check the inverter, make sure it turns on, and check the monitors, make sure they are working, or the one that I've got hooked up is working. So we'll go over here to the door, see if I can keep this from panning. Okay, as you can see, we've got 13.1 volts on that one battery. That's good. Now let's go see if we can get, if the inverter turns on. Should have a light on it, comes on. And it's not. It's not working. And it's probably because of that positive cable, which I will have to work with and try and figure out why. Okay, as you can see, we got it on, and like an idiot, it was my fault. I forgot to hook up the negative terminal to the battery. So now that we've got it on and it's working, we're able to plug stuff into it now. Another new modification that I did is I added a 90-watt solar panel for charging up my batteries. And I'll show you what that does. Okay, we ran that cable in, this one right here, and I've gone ahead and hooked it up to these two batteries, and that's charging up these keeping these batteries charged and keeping them full. I can switch it from one battery box to the other, and before I did this, I was at 13.1, something like that. And now my batteries are reading, if you can see that, 13.6. And it was up to 14 till I moved my solar panels. I thought I put them in more direct sunlight, but I guess I didn't. I had it up to 14.5. I'm going to have to try and change that. Okay, what it is the batteries are full now and they're not being used, so the controller has shut off the charge to them, which keeps them at a 13.6. Now if the battery is being used, the charger will come back on and run it up to 14.5, 14.6. Well, that's all the modifications for now. When I do more to the camper, I will make another video and let you know on Facebook that one is available. But till then, you have a nice day, have a great summer, and go camping.